Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from a Frontier. Thank you as always for stopping by. I'm always grateful. We're all very excited. We've got Jack Ma of Alibaba and Tai Chi Master arriving sometime later today. My dollar's worth is this. Africa is just as blank a canvas as the internet was the day Jack Ma typed in beer. And by the way, the first thing that most people do when they access the internet is actually type their name. And I was saying that time in 94, 95, when Jack did that, Africa is at a similar inflection point. And I said, come and paint big. Everyone has looked at Africa for what can be dug out of the ground, but the real economic value is in the human capital that walks on the ground. Alibaba was all about unleashing e-commerce amongst as many people as possible, 100 million I think on the network. Come unleash our most valuable resource, our human capital. And I said, finally Africa is even younger than the average age of your employees. And concluded by saying, just imagine if Jack can open Sesame and Alibaba, Kenya and Africa. If anyone can, you, Jack Ma, can. Welcome to Nairobi. I also did a little video of that piece, which I read you the final paragraph. Euro rally could end up in ECB tears if Mario Draghi goes back into his dovish cloak at Thursday's meeting. We're currently at 1:15:32. It feels corrective, but I think we'll correct a bit more. And Draghi has this habit of wrong-footing the market, so we really have to keep an eye on it. The American dollar hasn't really been great this year. This is from David Inglis, and you can see the performance of most currencies against the dollar. And on the 22nd of May, I wrote a piece calling it Apocalypse Trump. And I said, if we are headed to an apocalypse Trump, the healthcare is the latest example of that, then I'm afraid the dollar is a lot further to fall. That was on the 22nd of May. The dollar index is now closed at an 11-month low, down against every major global currency in 2017. Take a look at this chart from Charlie Bilello. Home thoughts. I like this photograph. Africa lives. I am lost for words. Then these photographs from Philly Infinity, Zanzibar, never ceases to amaze me. Some wonderful photographs that were posted. Zanzibar was where my ancestors landed more than 136 years ago. And I've been there a couple of times. It's really a very wonderful place to visit. My favorite writer from Zanzibar is a gentleman called Abdulrazak Gurnah. And my favorite book of his was his fourth novel called Paradise. And it's set in colonial East Africa during the First World War and was shortlisted for the Booker Prize for fiction. And there's a review I came across. In Muslim East Africa in the early years of this century, a boy who dreams strange dreams is taken to work for his uncle, a prosperous merchant on the coast. One of the first things he learns is that the merchant is not his uncle. Yusuf has been sold into bondage to pay his father's debt. It is the beginning of a harsh apprenticeship to life, tempered by haphazard kindness and glimpses of beauty. Unasked, just for the love of it, Yusuf tends his master's garden, hidden behind high walls and watered by 4 streams. Both the garden and the great world outside are equally mysterious. The world is a dazzling but dangerous place, civilized only by religion. Savagery lurks below the surface and in the interior of the country, where the pagan peoples live. Tales are told of what lies beyond the known world, seas that freeze, a wall built by the giants Gog and Magog, the earthly paradise with its gate of fire, from time to time ferocious and demanding alien figures move across this brilliant, part real and part imagined backcloth. They want everything and seem incomprehensible. They're known as the European. When he's 17, Yusuf accompanies his master on an ambitious trading venture into the interior. The journey, an act of hubris, assumes epic proportions as sickness, animals, and predatory local rulers take their toll. Yet, as they reach what will be the scene of the expedition's disaster, Yusuf, the dreamer, glimpses the fiery walls and turbulent waters that are said to guard paradise. Or perhaps paradise is the garden he has tended. It's a fantastic book, and what's so interesting is in the Mufai Club, or all these travel books that I've been reading, mostly about the DR Congo, in point of fact. And in one of them, this gentleman who was the writer for the Telegraph, who took this extraordinary 2,000 kilometre journey through the Congo. And he's describing how the Belgians came in and then had to remove the Arab traders from eastern Congo. And this description from Abdulrazak Gurnah is taken from the Arab traders' side. And very beautiful as well. The book is called Paradise. I was so impressed with it. I called Mr. Gurnah and we had lunch some time ago. Political reflections. Trump says he is very disappointed about the failure of the health bill. Have a look at the video. It's just mind-boggling. He's a Jedi, I think. I mean, it's just incredible. Backbench MPs tell the Prime Minister she has their backing to sack disloyal cabinet members. Charles Walker, a vice chairman of the influential Conservative Backbench 1922 committee, said he and his colleagues would support Theresa May in firing ministers who were focusing on their own personal ambitions rather than getting on with their jobs. There is a need to show strength and unity as a country, and that starts around the cabinet table. I'm not convinced that's going to help. Some crimes were considered not worth wasting bullets on. This is a report about North Korea carrying out public executions on riverbanks and at school grounds, and marketplaces for charges such as stealing copper from factory machines, distributing media from South Korea, and prostitution. Miscalculated Qatar blockade has backfired, says the former UK Middle East chief. The Saudi-led Qatar blockade was a miscalculated move that lacked strategy and backfired, the former head of Britain's Foreign Office Middle East desk said. Decision to impose an all-out blockade and sanctions on the tiny Gulf Emirate backfired, Sir William Patey said, noting instead of the intended regime change, the blockade had in fact boosted the emir's support across the country. This has all the hallmarks of a policy that has not been thought through. It does not smack of a considered strategy. It is not a smart move, even if you are sympathetic to their vision. It is a shortcut to achieve something quickly. And I think they miscalculated, and I think they did think that they did that with Trump behind them. Excuse me. Qatar would back down. They raised their stakes because they thought Qatar would back down in the end, so I think they were a bit surprised. The Qataris are rallying around their leadership. Saudi Arabia, along with the UAE, Bahrain and Egypt, imposed a boycott on Qatar since June 5. They've imposed sanctions on Doha. The alliance issued a 13-point ultimatum to Qatar last month. Qatar called the demands unreasonable and said it infringed on its sovereignty. But this is the important point. Patey, who's also served as the British ambassador to Saudi Arabia, said the motive surrounding the dispute was not Qatar's alleged funding of terrorism, but a region-wide political vision. This is about the Muslim Brotherhood. It is a battle for the future of the Middle East, he said. An existential one in the eyes of Saudi Arabia. Rolling Over Qatar was a piece I wrote in June 2017, and I spoke about how Qatar hedged, and that we were surely going to find out the value of these hedges over the next few days. That tiny Qatar needs all its wits about it now, because it is in a fight against some monster egos. May 2016, I wrote a piece about Qatar punching beyond its size. The ubiquity of Al Jazeera gave the state outsized soft power across the Middle East and beyond. Today, Qatar is a big player in the region, punching far beyond its absolute size, both in terms of hard and soft power. In a geopolitical context, Qatar played a role in toppling Muammar Gaddafi in Libya, and its influence can be seen similarly in the move to remove President Assad in Syria. In foreign policy terms, Qatar has packed a big punch beyond merely hosting the US military at Al Udeid Air Base. August 2011, I wrote a piece about soft power in Qatar and Al Jazeera. And I said what I want to look at is Al Jazeera and how it is a preeminent example of soft power in this 21st century of ours. Soft power is the ability to obtain what one wants through co-option and attraction. It can be contrasted with hard power, that is the use of coercion and payment. Soft power can be wielded not just by states, but by all actors in international politics, such as NGOs or international institutions. Of course, Macron has raised France to the number one point. The idea of attraction as a form of power dates back to ancient Chinese philosophers such as Lao Tzu, who famously said water is fluid, soft and yielding, but water will wear away rock, which is rigid and cannot yield. As a rule, whatever is fluid, soft and yielding will overcome whatever is rigid and hard. This is another paradox. What is soft is strong. That really is one of my favorite statements of all time. And that was just talking about Al Jazeera and how it's beamed into so many households and can exercise a great deal of soft power. China's railway diplomacy hits the buffers, says the FT, talking about how this railway diplomacy, bore, is a grand geostrategic ambition. As their train hit 300 kilometers an hour on the journey from Suzhou to Shanghai, he told them that Beijing was ready to share its rail technology, since ties with the region were like a train that is not only fast but also comfortable and safe, according to an official account. He predicted that railway technology would become China's golden business card. Xi Jinping has called One Belt, One Road his project of the century. In terms of scale, the rail push ranks as one of the biggest infrastructure undertakings in history. Total estimated value of 18 Chinese overseas high-speed rail schemes, including one completed Ankara-Istanbul, 5 underway, 12 more announced, amounts to $143 billion. The size of China's grand design has made its many shortcomings all the more eye-catching. The combined value of cancelled projects in Libya, Mexico, Myanmar, the US and Venezuela is $47.5 billion. China is hitting an implementation wall in its effort to promote high-speed rail abroad, Ms. Kratz said. Of course, here too, we're at the periphery of that with our railway, which is part of that scheme and has been funded by them as well. US 10-year yield falls through the 200-day moving average. Investors have really thrown in the towel with the US, increasingly expecting no rate hike, I think, before the end of the year. Currency markets, let's take a look. Euro dollar 115.32. We got close to 116 yesterday. Dollar index 94.77. I've been talking about that 93.50 area of support, which is key. Japanese yen 112.11. Swissy 0.9556. The pound recovering after that steep inflation-related sell-off yesterday. 130.44. The Aussie, which has been on a tear. I'll put up a chart, 0.7933, India rupee 64.335, South Korean won 11.2139. Brazilian real 315.42, Egyptian pound 17.95, South African rand 12.9138. Put up a chart that was posted by Bruce at Reuters. We're last, this is sterling, you can see the sharp fall down. We're now at 130.44. World's best performing currency in the past 5 days goes to the Aussie dollar by far. Just had a second golden cross in 5 days. We're now trading there at 0.7933. Take a look at that chart as well that David Inglis has posted. The FANG trade made a fabulous comeback yesterday on the back of Netflix earnings. That's Holger. Nasdaq closed at a fresh lifetime high on a return of the FANG stocks, with Netflix up double-digit after good subscriber numbers. Facebook closed at an all-time high. Snapchat at an all-time low. Look at this chart from Charlie Bilello. Total returns: Tesla plus 54%, Netflix plus 48%, Facebook plus 42%, Amazon plus 37%, Apple plus 31%, Google plus 25% year to date. The market cap of Netflix is now higher than Time Warner, $79.1 billion versus $76.9 billion. Bitcoin jumped after a first solution to a major ideological divide. Take a look at that link. It explains what's going on. Bitcoin's community has been a bit at odds for more than 2 years about how to solve its scaling problem. New software has been introduced. Take a look at the price chart, but you will recall I did say take profits, and I'm out of that. Ethereum co-founder says crypto coin market is a time bomb. Commodity markets, this is from a gentleman I follow on Twitter under the name T Commodity. He's implying that we've had a false breakout for the Bloomberg Commodity Index. I think he's right. US crude oil futures settled at $46.59, currently trading $46.39. I continue to look for a breakdown to $32, but you know oil can zig and zag, and we could be up near 50 before we go down to 32. Ichimoku cloud continues to be a strong resistance for crude oil. A spike above 47 would be worth a short. Gold, have a look at this chart posted by David Inglis. We've had a strong rebound after a very weak period. Facing multiple security crises, Congo's Kabila reshuffles the police. Congolese President Joseph Kabila has replaced the national police chief and police commander in the capital, Kinshasa. Security concerns rise following his refusal to step down when his mandate expired. President Kabila has control of the Conso, but at what price for DR Congo, I ask? Congo's central bank announces penalties for miners that fail to repatriate revenue. New stiff financial penalties for companies that fail to repatriate at least 40% of their revenues from mineral exports, a decree seen by Reuters on Tuesday showed. Exclusive murdered UN experts talked travel with Congo militia family. 2 United Nations sanctions monitors in DR Congo discussed their travel plans with family representatives of a late militia leader the day before they were murdered while investigating the group. Parts of the discussion concerned a field visit scheduled for the following day. The tape confirmed that the investigation aimed at a better understanding of Kaimunu Nasapu's structure, its support networks, and the potential recruitment using children. I like this photograph. ISS today. It's time for the right top cops in South Africa. South African all shares up 5.15% year to date. Dollar versus rand 12.9138, still in that range 12.60, 13.40. Egyptian pound 17.9515. Nigerian all share up 24.42% year to date. It's a good run. Ghana Stock Exchange Composite Index up 26.46%. It's had a good run as well. Speculators against Kenya's shilling in the run-up to the national elections should chill, said the central bank governor. Bank's hard currency reserves dropped to 7.8 billion or 5.2 months of imports last week. We believe that our reserves cover is adequate. There is a lot of speculation out there, and frankly, some of those speculators need to chill. He said he expected annual inflation to drop into the government's preferred band of 2.5% to 7.5% within 2 months as food prices continue to fall. He linked the fall in currency reserves to government payments of just over $500 million that were included in the budget. Njoroge said concerns about the recent closures of at least 10 bank branches by Barclays, Kenya and other lenders was overblown, saying technological innovations such as mobile banking were reducing the need for physical branches. An index of the government's local currency debt has advanced for 67 straight days, the longest run since Bloomberg began tracking the data in 2012. Take a look at that chart. Take a look at these 4 charts that show how Kenya's economy has performed after 4 years of Jubilee. President Kenyatta seeking a renewed mandate. Kenya's government debt has surged by more than 50% of GDP, has surged to more than 50% of GDP. From 40% 8 years ago. Armando Morales is saying it's important they return to fiscal consolidation, as that will reduce pressure on rates on domestic financial markets. Kenya shilling 103.745, Nairobi all share up 15.54% this year. NSE 20 closed at a fresh 12-month high, that's up 15.48% this year. CEO Vodacom, Mr. Jusuf, is saying we will use Safaricom to enter other markets where neither Vodacom nor Safaricom are. That's an interesting move, and that was all, I think, a lot to do with how they were trying to tidy up the ownership in order to achieve that. And Bessa's hugely successful. There's so much potential. Just think of somewhere like Ethiopia, for example. Thank you for stopping by.